Hi, I'm Laura Slate, and I'm a first level sommelier.
It's a sommelier.
I have never known him not to be.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wick. It's been a long time. I'd like a tasting.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
So I remember when I was a child and I was sitting in this booth and my parents were next to me and I was just looking over all the staff and how it all was working together and the magic of service. And my parents ordered a bottle of wine. Obviously I couldn't drink at the time, but I thought it was so interesting how this somm came up to the table and he presented the wine. He had this white cloth over his arms and he had all this knowledge. He opened it and put this little cork, presented it to my parents on the table, and then he let my mother try it out. I was just so amazed and thought, wow, this is something so interesting that I want to get involved with one day. Fast forward a couple years, I was able to pursue my passion of the service industry and a hospitality degree at Auburn University. Finally, my dream came true. I was one of 15 students picked out of 1,500, and I was able to take my first level somm class, as well as have an opportunity to go to Napa and Sonoma Valley and learn from the best of the best. Now looking back, I'm the person I once dreamed of, a first level somm, and I'm so excited to share my passion and knowledge with all of you. I am with two different sparkling wines, one on your higher end and one on your lower end. They're both brutes, which is a level of sweetness. So if you're looking for more a Moscato or Riesling flavor, I would go with a demi-sec, which is going to be a sweetness. You'll see right here where it says brut. So that's going to be more of your dry champagne. So champagne is always a sparkling wine, but not all sparkling wines are champagne. So what that means is, back in the day, the Europeans signed a treaty, and that meant that all of the champagne had to be from the Champagne region to be considered actually a champagne. However, on this Corbel, you'll see that it says a California champagne. So the US actually never signed that treaty, so that's why you'll see sometimes it'll say California champagne. However, it's not really a champagne, it's a sparkling wine. Okay, so now we're going to open this bottle of champagne. So first we're going to undo the foil right here. And now we're left with the cage and the cork still in the bottle. So I like to obviously way away from my face or anyone else. And then I undo, but then I'm going to just turn the bottom and hold on to the top. Okay, so now we're going to open up this sparkling wine. Now the reason they had this foil here is back in the day, they used to do a thing called disgorgement, which was to remove the yeast of the second fermentation inside the bottle. So this would hide if there wasn't actually enough champagne left over, but you'll still see this today in all of the champagnes. So the goal is trying to get as silent as possible. The nice thing about this glass is that it has a lot of bubbles. So the bubbles help your sense of aromatic smells when you're actually going to sip the champagne. It also increases the flavor profile in the champagne. So as you can see, this glass has less bubbles than the champagne. So typically with a lesser champagne, you'll see less bubbles. And I would pair this with something like orange juice or cranberry juice to make a mimosa or a special cocktail. You could also add maybe vodka into it as well. So just to recap what we spoke about today, we talked about the sweetness level of champagne. We talked about the difference between a sparkling wine and a champagne. We talked about how to properly open a bottle of champagne. And we also spoke about the size of the bubbles of champagne. So next episode, we're going to talk about aroma profiles as well as what pairs well with a Cabernet. Thanks for watching and cheers to the new year.